Hey guys, and welcome to the first episode of Race to Sector X. Now, what we're going to focus on in this episode is getting the first boss killed and just really preparing for the beta sector, as it's a lot more challenging than alpha. Now, as always, I'm going to pick the Apex race because they're my favourite. I don't know why. Normally I get to spawn on a Apex planet, and sometimes as a prison you get good weapons, you just get good stuff, like you get loads of pixels. Like I come out of a prison with like 5,000 pixels, and that always helps me, especially when I go into the later sectors. Oh, and you also get a lot of red injector thingies. Well, I forgot the name of them. Loads of stim packs, that's the thing. And you get some cool decorations too. You get some cool posters, and they're just all out neat buildings to raid and have fun in. Now, as we first go down to the planet, what we're going to want to do is, I see all that mini boss and I pooed myself, I'll just let you know. Made me well scared. But the first thing you want to do is just cut down a few trees, get like 60 unrefined wood, and then you want to set your focus onto stone. Now I know it's a hassle with that first tool, the matter manipulator, as it's very slow, but if you get around 30 stone, then you can make a furnace and a pickaxe, and with the pickaxe getting stone for your axe and everything else, it goes a lot faster. Now, at the start of the game you only want to have one furnace, but once you get into the later sectors, maybe even beta, you want to have 2 or 3, because that way everything's more efficient. Every time you come back up from a mining trip, you can just, dump all your ores into each separate furnace and be done in a few minutes. And then also with your ores, once we have a refinery in beta sector, as soon as you've finished the tier on the pickaxe and the armor, you basically just get rid of all that ore and bars. I mean, it's once you're in the end game, the X sector, it's not exactly going to be hard to find some copper to make a drill, because it's everywhere in them sectors because the rates are so high, especially on like tier 10 planets. So if you just refine it all, you can get the pixels you need to like create steel, create the robot, and just all the new machinery, which really helps you. Another tip I have with the Christmas things at the moment, you'll see me do this later in the game and later in the video, I always spend them on small unusual gift boxes, place them all down in my ship and just swing my thing once. I've bin all the useless candy cane weapons because they're not very strong, but it's a great way of turning them into pixels because I don't think there's an actual way to do it. So you just spawn them all in your ship, like inside the door, open the door, swing your sword, and bam, you've got 100 pixels if you had quite a lot of Christmas spirit. So yeah, that really helps me. I've been doing that on my top tier character quite a lot, because it's really easy to like kill the monsters on low tier planets, farm loads of Christmas spirit, and then turn it all into them gift boxes, and then there's like 300 pixels sometimes if you have enough. Now at this moment I go back to the ship, I turn some of my wood into wooden planks, I make my crafting table which completes a quest. I always make 2 campfires because you need 1 for the furnace. I just complete the quest quickly. And then I place it down, make 2 campfires like I said, and then you make a furnace, and then I go back and I go mining so I can get enough resources for the distress beacon, which I actually killed the boss within the first half an hour of actually playing, which it's quite a good achievement because that's quite a hard thing to do. I will say I killed the boss in a really newbie way. I just kind of made a big long thing of blocks and hid under it with my little wooden bow, but I didn't actually find enough iron to make it an iron bow, so there was nothing I could really do about that. And yeah, so now I just go back down to the planet. I actually thought it was turning into night, but every time I go down to a planet I think it's just dawn. I don't get why, it doesn't really make sense. It should continue from like the daytimer should just continue whilst you're on your ship, and then you should be able to come down at nighttime. But like literally every time I come down it's just dawn, so if it's ever night time I could just teleport up and down, which doesn't really make sense to me. So now you've got your pickaxe, what you want to do is you just want to go along the surface of your planet and just mine out all the surface ores. This is actually a really good way to get your ores. I was actually quite amazed by that water system. As soon as it was under my ears I could hear the music again normally, but because it was still covering my mouth, I couldn't breathe, which I thought it would have just been like once it got past a certain limit everything changed. So they're actually putting quite a lot of detail into the small things in this game, which is good, as it's only an alpha or beta and it's really quite glitchy. Sometimes my window just completely shuts down and crashes and doesn't tell me why, which I don't understand. So yeah, you just want to go along the surface, get all the surface ores, and also hit all these pixel capsules, because pixels really help in this game. Most people, when they see coal on the early planets, they just kind of walk straight past it and leave it sometimes, but I think that's like really stupid. One, it takes coal to fly, and you can't use wood that efficiently now. It's like 10 wood to 1 coal. That's not very good. I wouldn't do that. And two, later in the game, for quite a lot of the ores, or bars like steel and ferrosium and stuff like that, you need to add coal to another ore. So what's the point in walking past coal early game where you can easily mine it because the monsters aren't really going to do anything to you, when you could just take it all, hoard it in your ship, your little ship locker or in a chest, and then end game you could just like kick ass, because that's the simplest thing to do. So yeah, you'll see me sometimes pass up like little chunks of coal, like what, 3 pieces, but I do that sometimes. But when it's a big group, it's like there's no need to just walk past them just because you have enough to travel to the next sector. That's not something I'm going to do. And I'm sorry if the mining bit bores you, by the way, because it's pretty long-winded, but there will be an annotation probably in the video to skip the mining part, unless you actually want to hear me ramble on about useless junk. Yay! But yeah, don't pass up coal, it's really handy. Anyway, now going back to the gameplay, I don't really understand these towns. I don't know if I got a glitch or something, or the world didn't generate properly. I really don't understand. Half the places didn't have doors on, there was like no NPCs. And the last one I found, there was no chests. But it's literally like all over the surface of this planet is just them buildings, and I really don't understand them. Like, is there meant to be inhabitants there? Like, are there meant to be people there, or is it just meant to be like that? Like, if someone could actually find that out and tell me, it'd be really handy, because I get so confused every time I see them. Now, a little tip, don't like swing your pickaxe at them like things, the little berries and stuff. Press E on them to harvest them, then you'll get seeds and you'll get the food. The good thing about doing that is you don't actually have to like farm for meat, you can just get all the food you need from the surface of the planet. Now here I actually take out these bandits and I'm like, oh yeah, look at that sexy hat. And then I'm like, I actually went for a little tiny piece of coal, and then there was a bit more, which was a bit handy, I guess. Not really, it wasn't the greatest use of my time. I was actually like amazed by that, that's why I went back in it. I didn't think it was going to be something to cook food in. I thought it was going to be like just a decoration, but it actually worked when I pressed E, and then I was like, what? But yeah, that's going to be my new food cooker. I don't like the campfires, they're boring. And then again, I come up on one of these villages, no doors, no people. I don't understand it at all. I've been to the top of one of them towers in another world, and on like my actual character, my main character, and there was no people there, there was no chests, there was no like interior decorations. Like, I don't know. If you have any information on them, just please tell me, because they really confuse me. So yeah. Oh yeah, another little tip. as soon as you have enough, I didn't actually do this because I forgot, but as soon as you have enough cobble, just go back to your ship and create the axe to chop down trees with. And whilst you run along the surface, just, grab as many trees as you can, because wood, you can turn it into coal, which helps travel and it helps create ores again. The coal, important resource. It's like probably the most important resource in the game. And it also, if you ever want to make a house, I don't get why you would, or you want to change the background of your ship, and also quite a lot of things require wood for crafting. Torches do, workbenches and all that. Or the distress beacon requires 100 planks. And yeah. Now, a little tip for the combat on the first planet. As I know, you only have a bad weapon unless you're lucky and you spawn near a chest. Just let the enemy come to you and then swing, because you'll see later in this video I actually do some where I start charging the enemies and it just doesn't work. I start losing health, I start playing worse, but then I recover and then I start doing it right again. Just let the enemy come to you and then hit them away. It's like a game of baseball or something. You just let it come to you and then hit it as far as you can, and it really works. They just barely ever get hits on you, only if they're lucky. Or there's like, you have quite a slow weapon and then like they jump like just at the right time. You hit one and then one comes flying past your blade because you've just swung it and you can't swing it again, and you lose like 3 little bits of health, but that's okay. Now here I actually saw some copper and it turned into 3, which was decent. I did need copper. That was the lowest resource I had for my distress beacon progress so far, because I was finding a decent amount of iron. I found loads of silver compared to what I thought I'd found, and then I come up on this chest with a better weapon and I'm like, yes, because I can use that against the UFO now, and it actually did help. It was taking down like one little red little rectangle thingies at a time, and yeah, that was good. But yeah, I did kill it really noobly again, I'll tell you that. So, it's nighttime, but I'd seen this iron and I was like, oh, I gotta grab it. And then there was a tree on top, and guess what I don't have yet? My axe, because I forgot to go craft it. So, I just have to man it out and cut a tree down with a pickaxe, as you do, Daily lifestyle doesn't really make sense to me, but you can do it in this game. Now, this gameplay really isn't that interesting. It's just me mining, so I might actually just, cut a bit out of the half an hour, or just even make a time lapse. So, yeah, after deciding what I'll do, I'll see you afterwards. So at this point in the video, oh sorry, I was just moving my mic. At this point in the video, I'm still keeping it slightly sped up because it's still not the most interesting, but I'm also just showing you how I killed the boss really easily, like, because it was in the first half hour. I obviously didn't have good gear. I didn't even have an iron bow, I just had my little wooden one, but I'm just showing you a little easy method. It's kind of cheaty, I guess, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to get to beta sector and get your steel going. So basically what I do is I make a little cover that I can stand under and hide under from the little blue fires, that bolts that he fires down. And I also make that tower on the right. Now what that does is it stops him going too far one way like he just did when I jumped up away from it. But and I do that so he can't fire his minions like that one just there, and also his little blue bolts. And I also do that because it keeps him in a place where I can shoot him much easier, like more often. And also I build, like, you see, well, you can't see it, but the little bit coming off, like a little bit higher up, the reason that's there, if he ever tries to slam down, then he'll slam down on that most of the time instead of on my little cover. But at the start you did see me have to rebuild my little cover because he did get it. You know, it happens sometimes. You just gotta do what you gotta do. And yeah, that was a fail when I tried to hit him with my hammer. I just could not hit him, so I stuck with my bow. At this point I did realise my health was low, and then I was like, oh balls. But yeah, it's not really that interesting. Everyone's seen the first boss get killed, and if you haven't, well, this is the first boss getting killed. It's not exactly a hard boss. I did it in half an hour. I could probably have done it faster if the world wasn't so, like, it had limited resources, I'd say. There wasn't really that much iron. And if I actually just used my hammer on him, like, pretty early, because once I do start using my hammer, I think I do, like later on, it does a lot more damage than the bow does. Like, it takes down like a section at a time most of the time, or half a section at a time maybe, I don't even know. Yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. There will be more. Please comment on what I could do to improve, like quality or a program that's better. At the moment I'm using DX Tori, Audacity and Sony Vegas Pro. I don't think there's anything better than that, to be honest. Oh, and there you go, there's the boss dead. I actually thought them little minions would stay, but they didn't, but this penguin did. He was going to get it. So I just rounded up all my pixels and headed back to my ship. And yeah, this is pretty much the end of the episode. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment on what I can do to improve. And yeah, bye guys.